Alright guys, we are looking at the Thinborne case for the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And the reason we're looking at it again is because they sent out their sort of first attempt at this and it had some issues, and they were kind enough to send out a replacement, a revised version that does address some of the issues that people were seeing. And that new revised case is now really beginning to hit people who maybe got the bad ones at first, the ones that had some issues. And if you buy a new one, this is what you should be getting. So what I wanted to do is show you what some of the issues were and show you how it's been addressed in the updated version. So the first most obvious thing that we can point out, I need to actually pop it off to show you. We have the new one on the left, the old one on the right. Can you spot the difference? I hope that you can. The MagSafe ring is quite a bit lower on the new version, and that is because the location of the wireless charging coil in the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is actually a touch lower than they expected it to be. Now, this was not just a Thinborne issue. This is actually something that hit a couple of different case makers that I was working with. They had to send out revised versions, so this is the correct location. Now, beyond that, this back piece should be pretty much the same. I don't think that they really needed to do a whole lot of anything to this back piece. That was really the only problem that it had. But we did also get some changes to this little front piece, which have actually made a bigger difference than I was expecting. I still have it on. Man, that's dusty now that I took the case off. We'll get rid of that really quickly. You can see that the speaker grill is actually lined up really quite well now. And if we flip this around, likewise, the microphone on the bottom is lined up quite well. And there was an issue with this old one, let me keep from getting these two mixed up, where it just really didn't quite line up correctly. I pointed that out in my initial video and they have addressed it. Let's see what it looks like here. See, it's close, but it's not quite right. And if you come down here, you can see that again, it's close, but it's not quite right. If you push it over, you can get it there, but then it just ends up kind of going back on its own anyways. And so it just didn't really line up right. As I am putting this back together, maybe I'll put on some B-roll of the initial video and you can see how those things were misaligned from the very beginning. So now looking at the new case fully put together, I will say that I'm quite pleased with how this looks. And up here on the top side, again, we're looking very, very good. Now, I will point out one little weird thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is going to be something you can see on camera or not, but this side does stick out ever so slightly more than this side. At first, I thought this was going to bother me, but two things happened. One, I mostly stopped noticing it, but two, it actually kind of almost gives you like a little bit extra to grip onto when you're trying to open the thing. This might bug you. I don't think that this was an intentional thing. I think that what we're dealing with here with Aramid fiber is something that is to some degree sort of like made by hand. At least like the holes and so forth are things that are made by hand. You're going to get little inconsistencies with this material, and I think that's what's going on there. You may not have this same thing going on that I do, but I did feel like I needed to at least point it out. And it's not just that it's not fitting correctly, because we're even here, but then when you flip it around, we stick out a little bit on this side. So it definitely is something with the shape. Doesn't seem to affect anything. It's fairly minor, but again, worth pointing out. Now, one more thing I need to point out to you guys is that because of the location of this MagSafe ring, some MagSafe accessories might give you some trouble with this device now. Basically, what's happening is the magnet here is going to be potentially interfering with the magnets that the device actually uses to determine if it is opened or closed. With this little grip, I've not really seen this happen too often, but I think twice while I've been using this, I've had a situation where I'm unlocking the device, it vibrates to unlock, but my screen stays black. And then if I would just barely open it and peek inside, I would see that my inner screen was already turned on because it thought that it was opened when it was actually closed. Again, it's because the magnets are too close together. This device was not really meant to be using a MagSafe ring. This is not necessarily the fault of Thinborne. Maybe the fact that the case is very, very thin and there's a magnet and they're too close together. Maybe their little magnetic ring is too strong. I'm not exactly sure what's going on or what's causing this with this case, but it is definitely something to keep in mind. If all you're using is a grip, you're probably going to be fine. As you can see, more often than not, it's absolutely fine. It understands what posture it's in and everything is okay. Again, it's only happened to me twice, and when it happened, I just opened and closed it and everything was fine. I almost forgot to mention, but one other thing that I've noticed as I've been using this full case for the last few days is I've actually been leaving the front piece on. In the past with these foldables, literally with the Gen 1 of this case, I took that piece off because it wasn't staying on well enough. The phone holder I use in my car grips here, and when I would take it out, it kept pulling it off. That has not been a problem with the Gen 2 version, the revised version of this case. So not necessarily a huge issue, but you may have noticed in videos, I've been leaving it on, and that's because it's not popping off like a lot of these do. Once again, we'll take a look at the listing on their store page for this. It is an expensive case, all right, $89.98, no question. This is a very premium case, and this is 600D Aramid fiber, which means that it is very, very high-end Aramid fiber. I know some people will say, I can go to AliExpress, I can go to Temu, and I can get a case that's Aramid fiber for $20. Just, if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. It's your money, spent how you want to spend it. You're not going to get the same quality of Aramid fiber for $20. I would say if you want to go cheaper, look at something like Pitaka. They're a little bit cheaper. They're not quite the same quality, but you're still going to get a good case. Like, that's the biggest thing. A $20 case is going to be a $20 case. Do you want to put a $20 case on your $1,800 phone? Again, you spend your money how you want to spend it. Also, notice this, that it does not work with stand style chargers. There's something about the way that these cases are made that when you put them on a stand, like the Pixel stand, which, by the way, the Pixel stand needs a riser with this phone anyway, so it's less of an issue, but again, just something that you need to keep in mind. I do have a coupon code down below. If you use my coupon code, you'll save 15% off your order. So if this is a little bit steep, and I totally understand if it is, it's an expensive case, that'll at least help you save that 15%, and it'll help earn commission for the channel if you do use that link. As always, I want to give a big thanks to the fine people over at Thinborne for sending the case over for me to review. Like always, they just sort of send me this stuff and say, hey, if you want to talk about it, talk about it. If you don't worry about it. And so they are seeing this video at the exact same time as you guys are, and no money has changed hands for the production of this review. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.